Welcome. My name is Deborah Parchetta. I'm the Chief Engineer at Blue Marble Enterprises, a database systems company known for its measurement and analytic systems. Let me tell you about our new software called BlueHorizon. BlueHorizon is a new analytics platform for marketers that uses a not-so-new concept called customer lifetime value to predict a future trend in customer equity. What's exciting about that is that for the first time, this can be done for consumer packaged goods brands. Historically, the mathematics to find a customer's lifetime value have been used to determine the future cash flow from contractual services such as bank loans, cell phone services, and insurance policies. Let's look at insurance as an example. Each customer has a contract or a well-defined term with regular payments for the policy. We know when the payments start and end and what the future payment amounts are for the contract. New contracts will be started each month and some will end each month. It's very predictable because we've arranged all of this in writing with our customer in advance with a contract or a policy. The lifetime value of a single customer at a certain point in time is the cash flow, or the net present value, that will be realized from the rest of their contract. In this example, if I'm calculating CLV on March 1st, all of the policies that start in March or later will yield $1,200 for their future term, and one customer, the one with policy number 1, is only expected to pay $1,000 in the future because his policy is already in progress and some payments have been made against it. Now we know what the cash flow is from these customers in the future. Customer equity, then, is the sum of the cash flow we expect from all of our customers in the future. It's adding together all of the customer lifetime values of all of the new and current customers and anticipating the loss of customers in the future or the end of their contract. At regular intervals, weekly or monthly, we can calculate the CLV for all of the customers and predict the customer equity for the brand in the future. If nothing new happens, I know that the value of the policies is declining each month as payments get made. If marketing gets me 2 new policies in June, the cash flow from the customers is higher because we add their cash flow to the cash flows we already knew about. Whatever the customer equity is at each interval, we can plot it on a graph, and the line formed by the successive predictions shows the health of the brand in the future. Marketers might see that the future equity is going up and cash flow is increasing, in which case they would continue their marketing efforts that are growing the brand. If customer equity is going down, something needs to be done to prevent erosion of the brand. Or if the brand has steady customer equity, a marketer might want to try to stimulate brand sales a little bit. In this example, we see the decline, and we want to strategize marketing tactics that get more policies sold. But you are not a marketer of contracted services like insurance policies. You are a marketer of fast-moving consumer goods. Your consumers have many choices of retailers and many choices of brands in each category of goods. Unlike customers with contracts, we don't have a way to know that a CPG customer will buy your product again and again. Some customers set out with a list and a plan. Others are shopping on a whim. New customers may try your brand, and customers who were loyal for a bit may suddenly switch to a competing brand or disappear completely. We need a way to understand if a customer will give us more money by purchasing our product again and again. In 2008 and 2012, Drs. Yu, Hansens, and Kim studied the use of distribution models to calculate a probability for each customer that indicates whether or not the customer for a CPG brand will be active again. Dr. Hansens was one of the champions for the pilot test conducted through the Marketing Accountability Standards Board. He has our sincere thanks for his research and his mentorship that brought this product to bear. Please check out Dr. Hansens' research and videos at the UCLA Anderson School of Management. Download his paper on customer equity to read more about research on ketchup and yogurt data that inspired the development of the Blue Horizon analytics platform. In 2012, Blue Marble Enterprises concluded a pilot test of the customer lifetime value and customer equity analysis that was based on the mathematics that Drs. Yu, Hansens, and Kim had laid out in their research. Three major marketers provided transaction-level data for 6 CPG categories. Customer lifetime value was calculated at the brand and category levels, and customer equity was predicted for 104 future weeks. In layman's terms, we can look at a customer's recent purchases and see a pattern. From their particular pattern of purchasing, we can determine the probability of whether they will be active with the brand again in the next week. Let's study this graph for a minute. The horizontal line in the middle represents a 50% probability that a customer will purchase the brand again. Customers have a rise and fall in their probability of being active over time. Each week, I can use good mathematics to figure out where a customer is in this cycle based on their previous purchasing patterns. In this example, a customer whose probability of being active is low but rising has probably recently been acquired or reacquired by your marketing efforts. A customer whose probability of being active is high and rising is becoming more loyal to the brand, probably from some different marketing efforts. A customer whose probability of being active is high but falling is beginning to switch or discontinue buying your brand. Marketing tactics to retain the customer are important. And a customer whose probability is low and falling is no longer loyal. They may be lost, and we need marketing efforts that reacquire them. Blue Horizon allows us to continuously group customers into acquisition and retention sets. In our graph here, customers with a high probability of being active need to be retained, and we call them the retention customers. Customers with a low probability of being active need to be acquired or encouraged to be more active with the brand, and these are the customers of the acquisition group. Studying acquisition and retention allows marketers to see which group most impacts the future cash flow of the brand, and they can use different marketing strategies for these groups so that both groups become more profitable. As a side note, I showed you a 50% threshold here in our example, but marketers do not have to use a 50% threshold for acquisition and retention. Appropriate thresholds are set in the Blue Horizon system for each brand and should reflect market share and loyalty factors already known for the brand. Now, marketers for CPG are used to seeing what has already happened. They can look backward and see sales and prices and share and frequency and size and other statistics for their brands, and they can do a marketing mix analysis once a year or so. But these are all backward-looking analyses that cause marketers to be reactive in their planning. And once the sales are falling for a brand, some profits are already lost, and more could be lost in the time it takes to make a course correction. To get to the customer lifetime value of each customer, we use the probability of being active, and we look into the future for the components we need to predict how they might behave. During the development of the Blue Horizon system, CPG brand marketers were excited to see some basic metrics that they are not used to seeing. The system projects in each week what the future expected transactions, size, and price of purchases will be from each household. Cash flow must also take into account the contribution margin of the brand, the time discount of money, and any investment costs. Blue Horizon produces each of these elements of customer lifetime value for customers that are new to the category or brand or need to be reacquired, and will show those as a light green line. And the same elements of customer lifetime value are calculated for customers that are retained. We show those here as the darker green line. For brand B, from the pilot test, the expected number of transactions from both groups were predicted to decline. The size of each purchase was expected to be higher for the retention group customers, but was headed for a little slump based on the current marketing and purchasing patterns. Acquisition group customers would remain steady or gradually increase their size of purchase. The average price per unit was higher for acquired customers. It seems that retained customers may have learned to exploit marketing discounts to consistently pay a lower price per unit. The marketers later provided actual sales for the same brands from the modeling period. Summing all of the CLVs gives us a prediction of the customer equity from all of the customers. The Blue Horizon system can predict relative future cash flows for the brand, and we could validate the rises and falls in the prediction by using the actual sales from the future. For all 6 brands in the pilot test, the customer equity line foreshadowed actual rises and falls in the brand sales. In other words, the predictions indicated that cash flow would rise or fall, and it was known about 4 to 6 months before the actual rise and fall of the similar sales in the future. In another example, the prediction is refined enough to show a temporary rise in customer equity about 9 months before the rise happened in actual sales. The marketing impressions and costs for the brands can now be used with this customer equity prediction to evaluate the effectiveness of marketing on long-term health of the brand in a way that is very similar to a marketing mix model. We're calling it an equity mix model. The transaction level data that was used for the pilot test also allowed demographic and psychographic subsets to be used to see and compare customer lifetime value and customer equity for different target markets. In this example, we compared customer equity of 2 self-identified ethnic groups. While it was clear that African American customers represented 5 to 6 times more customer equity than Hispanic customers, it was also clear that the rise in cash flow from African American customers would be temporary. Hispanic customer equity was level and merited a discussion about marketing strategies that could make the customer equity grow. The model also allows us to study how customers come and go in the category or how they switch between brands. Marketing mix analyses have grown popular in just the last decade. Most major CPG marketers spend more on analytics than ever before. Ad Age reported last year that marketing mix models were not adapting well to new data and new media types. The Advertising Research Foundation, ARF, was set to look into ROI standards, and the story implied that providers of marketing mix analytics should open their individual processes to scrutiny and audit. I agree. I would suggest to you that marketing mix models, though, are not wrong or bad. I think that they're just insufficient. Adding a forward-looking analysis, an equity mix model, to marketing mix analytics may be critically important in the puzzle for how to market for the long-term health of a brand. In summary, consumer packaged goods marketers have long wanted a way to predict the future of their brands. Blue Horizon can provide a relevant, objective, and transparent measurement of the long-term effects of marketing on brand health by predicting customer lifetime value and future customer equity of a brand. Adding a forward-looking dimension to other well-known marketing analytics seems smart. Beginning in October of 2014, Blue Marble Enterprises will conduct commercial testing of the Blue Horizon system. We invite you to participate by filling out an application, discussing your questions and measurement needs with us, and supplying your current transaction level data to be analyzed. Manufacturers or retailers that decide to join us will be the first to study predicted future cash flows and the long-term health of CPG categories and their brands. There is a cost for participation. It's outlined in our online application. I encourage you to ask me about discounts for analyzing multiple brands or referring Blue Horizon to other marketers. Thank you for taking time to watch this presentation today. We look forward to working with you to further develop the science of predicting customer equity and to help you grow healthy brands in the future.